Coming up today, we have a mountain base. It's going to be good, guys. We're going to have lots to talk about. So we're going to plant some trees, and we're going to face off against our old nemesis. You ready for it? It's coming. The Insect Hulk. So anyway, guys, welcome to the stream. We had our little coming up there. I'm doing my very best to make sure that these videos are as entertaining as possible for your guys' pleasure. So it was a really interesting stream, and we are nearing the end. The next episode after this one will be our grand finale. So we jumped straight in, and as you can see, we are starting to build up our mountain base. And the idea today is going to be to set up a bit more of a better sort of like defensive perimeter. We're going to start moving into the mountain base itself, which is kind of exciting because we started doing it. You know, we actually got round to renaming Brioche, and we had a few raids, but at this point we hadn't really amassed enough wealth. One thing I've noticed since we were kind of doing things the way that we were, not using guns makes a big difference because the raids are smaller. It still doesn't help later on when we start amassing wealth other ways, but early game, yeah, we were doing okay. And, you know, we finally started smoothing things out. We managed to get another person to join us. Nut. That was in the last one. They were originally called Pigeon. And we planted this wonderful tree. Now, I played around with this on stream. That was really exciting. And I finally got to the idea of, hey, let's plant this tree and let's exploit it for all of its lovely, lovely resources, such as dryads that can haul things for us everywhere. In hindsight, probably not the best to get haulers, but I like the hauler tree. The hauler tree is great. So we took our king lays and we decided to marry them to the tree, connect them to the tree, whatever it is. Everybody showed up. It was very exciting. Now, King Lays, she is brilliant, and she is going to have a bit more of a story to tell. So we decided to start building their grand bedroom. I realized that we needed this space, so I started mapping it out and making sure that it was as good as possible, really. And you know, there were some lessons learned. Things like don't let your children play with the local wildlife. The child survived, but at what cost? Their spirit was broken, and the muffalo was too. So, you know, we had a couple of tense moments throughout this stream. There were a few things that we kind of needed to get in hand. Broccoli, the child's mother, ran in to help save the day. Obviously, we lost the father, Sriracha. It was very unfortunate. And Bernie was there. And Bernie obviously helped by firing into the muffalo to help us out. And to be fair, when you've only got recurve bows, it's really not easy. You kind of underestimate how helpful the guns are in the actual gameplay itself. Guys, I'm not going to lie, like the gun and the armor, really I should have gone all in on armor. You know, then they could have had wooden clubs, it wouldn't have mattered. We could have had armor, it would have been great. And we started placing things down, building things up. Our trap area was working particularly well, I have to admit. You know, these little wooden traps here, these 3 traps were doing significant damage, but it still wasn't a very good kill zone for people who, you know, relied heavily on bows and arrows and their ability to kung fu fight. You know, and to be fair, we didn't have many powerful things. I don't know why Brioche was running down there at the last minute. And as I said, we had loads of great opportunities. We had 4 man-hunting camels come in, and we got this guy, Tomoko, who came to join us. Well, say guy, child joined us. So we had a second child to play with the first child, to build everlasting friendships. It was amazing. However, everyone started getting sick from malaria, as you do. But, you know, our little areas were kind of well blocked off. We were safe. We were thriving. Yeah, that's it. Thriving. Like it. And we were managing, you know. We had our little melee dryads, not hauler dryads. I did get it right. But unfortunately, the second child even, decided to play with the traps. They played skip rope on the traps, and unfortunately it did not end well for them. And we buried yet another colonist, which is not going to be an ongoing theme. I promise there will be no more deaths in this in this playthrough. That would just be ridiculous. Who else could possibly die at this? So then we buried broccoli, leaving brioche is what it was supposed to be, but brochet, yeah, leaving brochet as unfortunately an orphaned child. Now it was up to King Lays to become the mother king that brochet needed. But we started moving things underground. Things were going particularly well, We even started thinking about building a hospital in this very shiny, very polished room. Brochet had his own barracks. He didn't need a barracks. So instead we started moving beds around from the outside and looking for good ones to pop them into our hospital so that I wouldn't have to waste wood building even more, because that would just be silly. We placed shelves for nice easy access to the medicine because, guys, it's important that we have medicine. Medicine's going to be great, especially when we had people dying of malaria in the actual colony, which was not helpful. It was not the best place to be in, and it did become slightly frustrating at points because obviously broccoli was a very good planter. Then we had to start thinking about other people that could train up, but we were being organised, we were being clever. It started to look fantastic. We even got the opportunity to look after someone, a prisoner, for a volumetric power cell, which was great. So Beck, part of the giant raid when we were protecting this person, survived ever so slightly, so we decided that we would take them and we would capture them, and they will soon become one of us, because you know what, they weren't too bad. They were a flirty slob. Don't exactly understand how that one, they're I suppose it makes sense, it could work, but they had some pretty good passion: shooting, construction, plants and medical. We needed the plants desperately. I really like this little shot, and I included it because there's nothing more satisfying about watching your little colonists run through and dust everything and clean everything. Look, everything became clean, very clean. It was beautiful. I really enjoyed it, watching them scamper around at my whim. But yeah, no, so we started doing that, and then unfortunately this happened, and I don't really know where it came from, but Bernie died because King Lays used her fist hesitantly, slamming it into his right middle finger, and he died as a result. Rest in peace, Bernie. You were a good miner and friend with a gun. Not a gun, but a bow and arrow. But yeah, we lost Bernie as well. As you can see, our memorial site is growing bigger and bigger, and the base was getting bigger and bigger. But we were losing more and more and more people. And we had to start thinking about how we were going to sustainably grow, because when you've got this much space in Rimworld, one thing that can be guaranteed is that you're going to get bigger, nastier, meaner raids that are going to come through and try and take all your hard-earned open space. So we really had to start thinking about how we were going to put this together, what we would do next, and where we were going to go with King Lay's palace. Now, I really like the shape. I like the form. I thought it looked really nice. And Ranch was there too. He's our oldest colonist at this point. We were looking after a few prisoners, and we were doing quests, the things that needed to be done. But we needed more. We needed to expand. We needed to grow, and we needed to eliminate as much of our presence on the outside as possible, because it made us vulnerable. It made us vulnerable to attack, and that is something that I wanted to make sure we were avoiding. So we had the opportunity to, lure away a couple of drifters, and they would come in, and things started to repeat themselves a little bit at these early stages. We've been going for a few episodes now, but after we lost a good majority of our wealth and our colonists in the fire of episode 2, we started, I suppose the raids were growing, but they weren't growing nearly as fast as I thought they would. We had the ballista set up, and that was helping a little bit. It was doing some of the heavy lifting for us, but we were getting the raids through. We were completing quests. Things weren't as bad as I initially thought. We started thinking about power, such as the volumetric power cells, which volumetric, I can't remember. And eventually, after all of that, Beck decided to join us, and we named them Ice Pop. And Ice Pop fit in rather well, I'll be honest. And we started, rather than smoothing out the floors because it took so long, we decided that we would start placing down brick flooring. And the brick flooring was going to make a really big difference. Not only would it help them get their construction skills up just as fast as smoothing things out, but it would also give us the opportunity to, build very quickly and get things sorted. Now, the insect Hulk. Did we luck out on the insect Hulk, guys? I am not even joking, right? So these traders just happened to be there, and there were so many of them surrounding it in a melee, and they still managed to take it out. Now, we were smart, we were clever. We did go down and finish off the mega spiders because I could see it now. They were downed, and some of them were not going to die soon. So we had to hunt them to make sure that they were finished off really quickly, because we did not want to risk these things getting back up. Admittedly, our traps with their weakened state could have probably finished them off like it did that boom rat, but at the same time we didn't really want to chance anything. So we collected up our wonderful mega spiders. We could use this stuff, and we started taking on yet more quests. It was really exciting, actually. I started doing quests that I'd never even thought about doing before. So we had this wonderful one here where these guys were crashed in a ship, and I thought, hey, a ship, we could use that's going to be steel and components, right? And the fighting kind of went on. Our guys didn't even really need to get involved too much. Doxa Daguro did a great job of taking out this guy, and I was kind of hoping they would be downed so we could take off their armor, and then once you take off their armor it's free plate mail. But no, that would have been silly. So yeah, they survived. They lived to see another day, and so did we. Things were going rather well, actually, I have to admit. I wasn't too upset. We still had some decent colonists, we had Nabba and Squid, who I just kind of accepted were now a permanent part of the overall colony, because the thing with Nabba and Squid is that they hadn't left. The quest never triggered, so we just got to keep them. And that wasn't a bad thing. They both had their benefits, and it did help, so we were just going to see how they went. Now, as you can see, we decided we were going to need a bigger storeroom, essentially, so I started moving the shelves over, moving things through. We started building a kitchen area with a larger fridge, well, about the same size fridge, to be honest with you. But as I said, we were relocating, we were moving into the mountain. As you can see here, things were going well. We had a big open hallway at the start. There'd be a recreational area, and we even started to get to reclaim some of our resources, the wood supply, the lights, all of this, the power cables that were out here, and it was going to be great because we were going to be completely underground. This would give us loads of space for growing. This would give us loads of space for defense. It was going to be beautiful, guys. We were ready for it. Okay, we were ready for it. And you can see in this clip here, we've got Squid placing down some fancy tiles, and people were going to be happy as a result. They were so happy that I even started expanding out my kill box. And if you're watching, right, if you are watching, in the next few videos, I've got some very exciting ones coming up. It's going to be, I say it every time, but after the finale, the next episode, we've got some exciting ones coming up. But if you have any tips on building good kill boxes, you guys let me know, because I feel like I'm getting there slowly, but at the same time I've realized that I am not the best at this side of things, and I need to be. Alright, I need to be, because I am not a very proactive player, and I forget things. Okay, I forget to make sure that the kill box is set up in the first day or two in game. But no, that's something that I always forget. Anyway, we started planning this out, and I kind of like the too wide approach, because obviously raiders still hit the wooden spike traps, but my guys are able to navigate around them, and I find that's a really nice way to do it, in my personal opinion. Now, it isn't always the best, it doesn't always work out. They tend to hit some traps more than others, but not all the time. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it goes well. So overall I think it was looking pretty good. We had like a crafting area with power underground. Everyone's bedrooms were slowly set up, and we even had a couple of spare bedrooms ready to go, ready to wow people and get them excited to be part of this colony. Look, we're even finishing off King Lay's bedroom, which was great, as well as Ice Pop finishing off their own bedroom. And I really did like using some of the Xenotype characters like Ice Pop, who obviously, Ice Pop was just interesting because the like Saurid character, and I'd seen him before but not really spent much time looking at the different characters. And maybe a little hint drop here, but the next video after the finale for No Guns Challenge potentially we'll be looking at the Xenotype editor. I don't know, you guys will have to tell me. However, Ice Pop was unfortunately Nabba, to my disdain, remained alive, whilst Ice Pop, again, we lost yet another strong member of the colony to the plague. And King Lays did this one again, chatted for Ice Pop, said how icy and poptastic they were, and we put yet another one in the ground. So we were not lucking out on the colonist front. The biggest thing that was hitting us this time was not actually the raids. Our kill box was pretty strong. It was actually, believe it or not, the it was actually our biggest problem was probably the plagues, the illness, the sickness. That was causing a lot of problems. Now, this raid we managed to get 2 people, but again, things are not always how we want them to be. We had one really good one, loads of good passions, loads of good skills, and we had another one who was average, but you'll never guess what happened to the really good one. Well, guys, they got an infection that went from minor to major, and because things were looking so bleak, we decided to have a dance party. It was a good dance party. Look, you see how happy everyone is. It's like the first bit in Madagascar, where you got King Julian, but we're King Lays. King Lays is a little bit more superior in that regard, and it's nice. It's good to have. It keeps their morale up. It keeps them, going, and they're happy about it. So we were alive. We were surviving, sort of. We had a few people try and come in and raid us, and we were getting better, but bear in mind these guys did have guns. They had good melee weapons, and I thought in my infinite wisdom, we'll get the heavy crossbows. But guys, the heavy crossbows, they are not that good because they fire so slow, so when they miss, that's it. Like, you've missed. You are not getting that back. It just takes so long to reload. I don't know if I'd use them again. Maybe a standard crossbow, something like that. But I'm not sure I would use a heavy crossbow again. I imagine they have their uses, but I think that the recurve bow in particular was, it had its moments. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't awful either. So we managed to get Kumbaro to join us, and Kumbaro we decided to name in our infinite wisdom the most beautiful name of all, guys. Their nickname was Hummingbird, so we decided to go for Fried Hummingbird. Because I was going to do chicken, you can see that, but no, Fried Hummingbird, but we couldn't fit in the D, so it's Fried Hummingbird. So we got Fried Hummingbird as part of the colony at this point, and we were doing quite well. Everyone was happy. Everyone was surviving. We could finally make antibiotics to start pushing back against the evil viruses that were infecting us every which way. So, we did not luck out in that regard. And I don't remember when it happened. I don't know how it happened, But I imagine someone was doing a supply run outside of the walls because they didn't disallow the doorway and stuff like that. And what ended up happening is we actually had a full 4-person raid managed to walk straight into the base. Now this became a really close moment for us guys. This could have potentially ended the run if we weren't lucky. I think we lucked out when a few of them decided to take the trap route instead because the door's shut, so they decided to take the trap route, and yeah, they started doing some damage. However, they did take a little bit of a beating, which was helpful because for us, them taking a bit of a beating means we take less of one. You know, the more they kind of bleed now, the less we bleed later. So we got everyone into position, you know, moved everyone round. We were ready, you know, we were born ready, guys. And you know, I was hopeful that no one would die this time, but I sent just fried hummingbird in just on their own for a bit, because I felt like, you know, they could deal with this. They were actually a pretty good melee combatant, and you know, they did have a melee weapon, so I felt like we were gonna luck out, you know. And I wanted to give them an opportunity to get their melee skill up as well, and you know, they took this guy down and away they went. Now throughout the video you may see occasionally that I allow the pickup of guns. The only thing that I do with the guns, just so you guys are aware, you see everything that happens in this stream pretty much, right? But the only thing I do with the guns is 9 times out of 10 I smelt them down for you know, steel or components. We are a no guns challenge, but what that does mean is we can melt guns down, we can use the materials from the guns. That does help us and make us, you know, make us everything a little bit more interesting when we can get that stuff. And also I didn't want it lying around because I'm pretty sure it counts towards our overall colony wealth, which is a problem. So as you can see, this person came in, decided to start smashing up our doors to escape, I suppose. And when they did, I decided to get King Lays involved. She was brilliant. King Lays came in and just dealt damage, you know. And but then we just kept getting it raided. Like you can see it here, it was raid after raid after raid, and every time it went the same. We had the child, man, the ballista. We had everyone else that was able to walk come and start firing shots off as soon as they could. And as you can see, there's the wonderful heavy crossbow in action. And then Ranch went down because Ranch is terrible. So we sent Nabba to rescue Ranch because I could already see what was going to happen if we didn't. And we sent Squid in. So Squid is also a pretty good melee combatant as well as a ranged. So we had the range going on, and unfortunately, you know, we lost the ballista, which is a bit frustrating because obviously from my perspective, the ballistas or ballistae are important. And then we lost Brochet. We lost Brochet. I was hoping that he would just be knocked unconscious, and King Lays thankfully went into a blood rage and just started wailing on these guys, taking them out, you know. And one of our guests who will work, so this was helpful, guests that will work came to help as well. And you know, we just did what we could. At the end of the day, you know, Rimworld can be a pretty grim game, but it's also a fun game, something that, you know, we can all sink our teeth into, because every now and again your ballista operator gets smushed. It happens. As you can see, we're actually getting pretty good at all of this now. You know, we had this little guy get buried, that was a problem. We had another thing where Bay could potentially join us, and overall, I mean, you know, everyone seemed pretty happy. I mean, for now,